I approached The Waterfront with a bit of skepticism after the last Netflix original drama Ransom Canyon was such a disappointment. But after watching the first season of the show, I have to admit it was a much better offering. First off, I love the casting here. And I especially enjoyed watching Jake Weary play a character that is both similar to Darren Cody from Animal Kingdom in that he is part of a criminal family, and different from Darren Cody in that his temperament is somewhat much more under control, actually. I also like Melissa Benoist here in that she played a truly troubled woman struggling with her sobriety while trying to face her childhood trauma as she fought to win back her family's trust and the affection of her son. And I've generally been a fan of her work for years. I thought the writing here was solid, and after doing a bit of research, I found out that the story is loosely based on the real-life experiences of its creator, Kevin Williamson, and his family's history in the fishing industry, which explains why the plot and the character arcs moved along in a way that felt much more organic than your typical contemporary run-of-the-mill family drama. Now, don't get me wrong, there's certainly some melodrama here, as is necessary for these types of shows to work, but it doesn't feel like the events of the story jump the shark, as they might say, mostly because the things that happen feel like things that would happen, or at least might happen, if your family were running drugs. In addition to that fact, I think the story features some interesting, though predictable, plot twists and turns that pique your interest just enough to want to see them play out. And with the episode count being on the lower side, that being 8 episodes instead of 10 or 13, the pace is forced to stay on the faster side, making for a fairly easy single-day binge if you had the liking to spend this Saturday or Sunday in bed or on the couch. The only thing I didn't particularly like was the character Grady and how he was written, or how Topher Grace ultimately decided to play him, whichever it was. He was just as annoying as hell to me, but that did make it rather satisfying when Kane finally embraced his destiny and blew his shit up in the finale. Now, overall, I'd give this show a 60% or 6.0 if you're thinking IMDb score. As I said, this show is an upgrade over Ransom Canyon, which had both casting and writing issues in my opinion. And given that that was the last original drama series, I believe, that Netflix gave us, one can't help but compare the two. And while Ransom Canyon tried its damnedest to be Yellowstone, failing miserably to achieve that feat, I am of the mind that this show feels like it stands on its own, though people are already trying to compare it to Ozark, which I think is a bit unfair, especially at this point. But where I think Ransom Canyon could be canceled and I'd totally be fine with it, this series, I think, at least shows some promise as it pertains to what it could be a season or two from now.